Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back once again to the Big Data Ecosystem. My name is Eric Kavanaugh, and today we're going to be hearing from Adam Feiner of BIME. And he's going to be talking about what BIME has got going on there in the world of analytics. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Adam Feiner. Tell us what you got.
Thanks very much. Adam Feiner from BIME Analytics, product specialist. Basically, we're going to give you a demo now of what BIME can do. Just to give you an idea, here is a dashboard that we've created based on data that's stored in BigQuery, Google's BigQuery system. There are 457 million rows in the data set, and BIME has connected live to the underlying data source. So all of these queries, all of the interactivity that we're going to do with this dashboard is going to be done live. So there's no pre-aggregation of data, there's no caching, it's all done live and on the fly. So just to give you an idea of the kind of interactivity that you have available for BIME dashboards, you have global filters. Here, for example, I could select a particular order priority, and on the fly, live, the dashboard will update. And again, we can see we filtered it down to 88 million rows now. So you can really see the sort of power of the engine behind BIME. But not only the global variables on the side, you can actually interact with the individual queries and visualizations. So for example, if I wanted to decompose my ship mode, I can do that by a sales channel perhaps, and then that will just focus on this particular query here. And again, there we go. And then perhaps I could apply this any particular selection to the entire dashboard. So, you might have spotted a particular anomaly in the data, so we can click on it and focus all, which will then focus the entire dashboard so that we can actually get down to see what's going on and answer questions that may arise from any of this interactivity. If you wanted to perhaps also see what's happening at a particular time, this month here, month of March, I could take it and we can decompose that down and maybe see that by day. And then we could see there's a spike here, and I can focus this on the entire dashboard. So you can see what's going on here. It's like I'm analyzing, I'm starting off with a particular view, and then I'm sort of analyzing and drilling down, decomposing, focusing to see exactly what's going on and what happened at any particular point in time. So here, for example, I can see exactly where this profit is being generated. So that's really the idea behind BIME, what BIME aims to deliver. Fully interactive dashboards. Dashboards delivered in HTML5, so they're fully mobile compatible, and you get the same interactivity on any device, such as a smartphone or a tablet. So what goes on behind the scenes in order to get to this stage? Well, I'm going to go into my BIME account now, and first thing you'll notice is that we're still in my browser. BIME is a 100% cloud-based business intelligence solution. It's delivered via your web browser. There's no need to pre-install any client or take up any servers or anything like that. It's all done via your web browser directly. So there are three different steps when working with BIME. There's the connection step. That's where you create a connection to a source of data. We'll show you how that happens in a minute. Then there's the analysis phase, where we create these sort of dynamic, interactive visualizations in a dashboard. And then there's the publication phase, where we will choose the interactivity options and choose who gets to see what in the dashboards. And you can really specify who can see what based on one single dashboard. We'll see that a bit later. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to create a connection to a source of data. You can see here, this is my data source library, and you can see also that we've got several different types of data all in the one place. That's really sort of the ethos behind BIME as well. It's basically turning the cloud into a data warehouse. That's to say that you can have your data from BigQuery, your data from Google Analytics, an Excel spreadsheet, an on-premise database. What else have we got in here? You've got YouTube, and we'll see all the rest available, Salesforce, Facebook, all in the same place, and you can mix and blend all these data sources together in the same dashboard. Let's create a new connection. And today what we're going to be doing, we're going to be working with the same data set we just saw, those 457 million rows that are stored in BigQuery. And we'll show you how easy it is to get from connection to publication in the short time that we have. Firstly, here's a complete list of all the different data sources that BIME currently, and I stress currently, has access to. And I say that because we're constantly adding all the time new connectors to this particular offering here. So you've got the simple Excel and CSV files, whether they be on-premise or stored in Dropbox, Drive, SkyDrive Box via FTP or URL or WebDAV. You've got some online services, Google Analytics and spreadsheets, Facebook, Salesforce, Alfresco, Gmail, which is great. That means if somebody sends you a CSV or an Excel file as an attachment, no need to download it. We'll just create a direct connection to your Gmail inbox and work off that file where it resides. We've got GitHub, Amazon SimpleDB, Omniture, YouTube, Dailymotion, and QuickBooks. In terms of relational databases, we have MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle, Postgre, SQL Azure, Access, IBM Informix and DB2, Firebird, BIMEDB, which is our proprietary virtual data warehousing solution, and one of the newer ones is Google's Cloud SQL. And as I explained earlier, we've got these 6 big data connectors: BigQuery, SAP HANA, OLAP, Redshift, Vertica, and VectorWise. So really spoiled for choice in terms of what data you can connect to and blend together. As I said, we're going to be working off a big data, BigQuery connector. So I'll select my data source, and then we'll give it a name. And we're going to connect via OAuth. So we'll just connect with Google. I'll select the account connected to Google. We'll accept, be offered a token, which we'll copy and paste into BIME. And then we'll select the table that we wish to work off. So here I'm going to find the project, the data set, and the table I wish to work off, which is this one here. And that's pretty much all you need to do in order to start the connection process. Just locate the data you want to work with. Then I'll click on Next. What happens now is that BIME will read the fields in your data source and split them up into attributes and measures based on whether the data is qualitative or quantitative, or to be more precise, whether there's purely textual values, or whether there are any textual values, or purely numeric values in the field. So a lot of the work, the modeling of your cube is already sort of done for you. BIME will also recognize any recognizable date formats and put them into temporal dimensions. That's to say that you have automatically access to year, half year, quarter, all the way down to the second. So you can, for fine granular analysis. So yeah, that work is pretty much done for you. You can, however, if there's an order ID, which is a numerical field, but it's actually a qualitative field, we could just move it up. So you can move everything around. We can even create groups too, like so. So you can model and structure your data more easily. It just makes stuff easier to analyze. So that's the second sort of step in the process. And then when I click on Next, we're presented with the different cloud storage options that are available through BIME. Basically, we're connecting to a BigQuery data connection now. The data's already online, so there's no need to extract it, no need to take it from where it is and put it somewhere else. We're just going to interrogate it from where it is. Hence, we would use none as the cloud storage. If, however, we were working with an Excel spreadsheet, which was based in my computer, for example, for working with that online, I would need to take a snapshot of that data, in which case I'd need to use something like Deja Vu, which can store up to 200,000 rows per data set. Any bigger than that, if, for example, you were working with a production relational database and you didn't want BIME to be firing queries at it, to lighten the load, if you like, you can work in non-delegated mode, as we call it, and we can take an extract of the data and put it into BIMEDB, which will give you up to 50 million rows per data set. For anything larger than that, another way that BIME interacts with Google BigQuery is that you can use it as cloud storage. So if you have data in your relational database or any other of our different data sources, you can take it from there and then push it into BigQuery. So those are the different levels. We've basically got a cloud storage option for all levels of data. But I need to stress, and it is important to stress, that if you don't want your data to be moved from where it is, just select none, and we can query it from there. So, and that's pretty much it. That's all I need to do. So I'll find my new connection in my connection library, and in order to start working with it, all I need to do is to load it, like so. And here, just to give you just to show you what we're working with, a dynamic count of the data set. There we go. There's the 457 million rows. Let's start by dragging and dropping a few things into place to create our first query. So let's start off with maybe order quantity, and let's see that by year and month. And you've got 16 different visualization types available as well, from the common column charts, bar, line, pie charts, to tree maps, geographic maps, relational analyses, radars, gauges, funnels, etc., etc. So again, sport for choice in terms of visualizations. Let's choose a simple column chart for this, set the query running, and again, this is in real time, based on that huge volume of data. Allows you to visualize your data very cleanly, very effectively. Here, for example, we can see a spike in our sales. So if I wanted to interact with this now, much like we saw in the dashboard previously, I can decompose this. So I could come into here, and this is for me just working on my queries, and I could see that by sales channel, for example. And again, on the fly, that would be, you can actually see and analyze what's happening in that particular situation. Here we can see that it's a private-owned e-shop that's sort of sparking this peak, if you like. So the beauty with BIME is that you can blend your different data sources together and actually get a global view of what's going on with your whole sort of range of different data sources. In order to do that, we're going to be using our Query Blender tool. Very simple to use, graphical user interface. Here's my my big query data, and let's just say we saw the spike in the e-shop. So perhaps it's something to do with our web traffic. Very easy to try and discern if that is the case using BIME. All I'm going to do is I'm going to select my Google Analytics data that I've pre-connected to in BIME, and then much like we would create joins in a relational database using custom SQL, we can do the same here. So I can find my date from one side, for example, and then the date with the other side, and then add that as a condition and save it. So when I save it now, what you can see is that not only do I have my big query data here, but I have access to my entire Google Analytics profiles as well. One of the great things about BIME is that you can connect to multiple Google Analytics profiles. I think the biggest client for us in terms of that connects to 600 different Google Analytics profiles and is able to aggregate them all together in the same pivot table. So that's quite impressive stuff. But even more impressive is that, as you'll see when I create this particular blend, as we call it, let's see, let's take our visits, for example, and I'll put that into here. And let's set that going. You can imagine 457 million rows of data from one place, our BigQuery, blended with Google Analytics, the visits from our Google Analytics profiles, all in one place on the fly. So completely disparate data sources. It's all being done together. Let's choose from one of the over 500 customization points within BIME. For each of the 16 different visualization types. I could maybe change my second measure into a line. So that's really giving you an idea of the power of BIME. But we can go even further than that. Let's say that didn't answer our question. Maybe we want to connect to our Salesforce data too, just to see if that is causing this, this peak, this spike in our sales, in our profit. So again, we'll go through exactly the same process. Find my date from the one side, the date from the other, add that as a condition. Ooh, where did that go? Save that. And again, we now have our 3 different data sources in the same pivot table. So here, for example, let's just reorganize this a bit. Let's take that here. Let's try something like opportunity amount. And set that going. And there you go. You now have 3 different data sources available in the same query, really demonstrating the enormous power of the BIME calculation and query engine. Quite impressive. So let's just say this is the query that we wanted to create. In order to share it now, it's very, very simple. All I need to do, click on my Save button, and I can save it to a dashboard, either an existing dashboard or a new dashboard. Here you can see some of the different preferences, interactivity preferences for my dashboard. For example, any filters I have in any of my queries, I can use them as prompts. That's to say that they'll be available to my dashboard viewers to filter the dashboard according to their wishes, if you like. We can allow the changing of measures. That means here, for example, we're looking at visits or an order quantity and opportunity amount. You can actually give access to the viewer to change any of those measures into a completely different measure. So, access to the entire data set, if you like. You can even allow them to change the aggregator. And again, here we've got the decompose, we can drill through, which allows you to export the underlying raw data in CSV format. Probably not recommended for 457 million rows, but it's available. You can allow a focus on selection, so that's just, as the name suggests, focusing on a particular section. And as we saw, the focus all, that's allowing and applying a selection to all of the other visualizations in the dashboard. So here's where you choose your interactivity options. I'll just save it. I will give my query a name. And there you go. As I mentioned previously, you also have the option to create calculated attributes and measures. So here, for example, I have access to my over 80 different functions. And let's just locate a classic if-then-else statement. So I could just do, what am I going to do? California orders. And I can just say if my, this should actually be from, I think that's supposed to be in the other, here. Yeah, if, sorry. So you can create calculated measures. Let's just start again. There we go. If customer state equals California, then give me the sum of the order quantity, for example, like so. And then that would be available to be used in your queries as well. That applies to measures and for attributes as well. You can go a lot further with calculated attributes too. You can create groups, sets, rename values, create different orders in your values in your attributes. So you can go very, very far. Let's take a look now at our Monitor tab. The Monitor tab is where you find all of your dashboards, and this is where you start to edit them, design them, move stuff around, add interactivity, add new queries if you want. Here we've only got one query. Well, let's just edit the dashboard. And I'll go into free flow with grid, which means that I can now just resize this and put it anywhere I like. I can change the background color. I can configure a template for the colors as well. I can add, let's add an image window. Just upload that. Okay. Where are we? Here we go. In fact, let's take this one. Okay, so while that's uploading, I could perhaps add a text window. Like so. Like so. You can also change the options for each of the individual widgets. You can change the font size, the color of the background, etc., all through these options here. Hide the header, hide the border, select the window size, etc., etc. Let's just, well, we've only got one for the moment. Then to save the design, I'm just going to close this window here. And you can see that you can have access to all of the different measures as well. That's the change measure interactivity. And then to share this dashboard with whoever needs to see it, I'll just go to my publish options. I'll make this tab public. We can customize the link. So you can customize it there. You get the URL in Flash for sort of legacy browsers. You get the URL in HTML5 for full mobile compatibility. And also you get the HTML code for embedding in an iframe. You can schedule the delivery of your data as well. As we mentioned earlier, you can specify particular user groups or viewer groups, if you like. Say at 9 a.m. on Monday morning, they're going to get a reminder email with either the URL, an image, or a PDF of the existing state of the dashboard, or just simple reminder to say, check out your stats. Let's select a different, we'll add a new user group or a viewer group. Let's add that here. We're going to create it and authorize it to see this dashboard. Then we're going to add a new viewer. So let's do this. Okay, we'll create this new viewer, add this new viewer into my group, which is authorized to see the dashboard. We'll save that. I can change different options as well, like allowing the Excel export, the PDF or image export directly from the dashboard. I can set a particular, from here, a particular session duration, whereby you need to log back into the dashboard after a certain amount of time. So, okay, let's copy this to a clipboard, save it, and just simply paste it into a new tab in my browser. Log in with my credentials, and there you go. Within 15 minutes, I have managed to connect to my big data in Google BigQuery. I've managed to blend that with my visit data from my website traffic in Google Analytics, and also my opportunity amount in my Salesforce data. So, and then publish an interactive dashboard all in this short space of time. Pretty impressive stuff. As we suggested earlier, what you can do you can industrialize, what we call industrializing the delivery of your dashboards, so that, for example, if this product category, I could secure this product category. And I can say that for this group, this new group that we've just created, I'm going to customize it so that whenever anybody in this particular group logs into the dashboard, they're only going to see the data for the men product category. And then this group here, when they log in, they're only going to see data for the kids category. So with one simple URL, you can industrialize your dashboards. No need for duplication. When they log in, they will automatically see only the data that's been specified for their eyes only. So that's pretty impressive stuff. And that's it. That's really the 3 steps of how you work with BIME. Connection, analyze, and publish. Thank you.
Yeah, this is really impressive stuff. You guys have done a lot of work in a fairly short period of time. Let me ask you just a couple questions. So you have all these different connectors to different sources, like you've got Oracle in there and Vertica, a whole bunch. I mean, like I say, it's a very impressive array. And how many versions of those? Do you basically focus on the most recent versions, or can you talk about version control in connectors?
Yeah, I'm actually going to introduce at this point a member of our technical team, Yannick Schaus.
Hello.
The question, Yannick, was in terms of versions, following versions of different connectors such as Oracle, how do we follow them and how do we connect to the latest one? Or
basically, we use the standard JDBC connector to access the database, so it's independent of the version of the database, more or less. We use a pretty standard SQL queries, so it shouldn't have any difference between versions.
Thank you.
I see. And do you do any customization of those drivers, like the standard JDBC drivers? Do you do any custom work on fine-tuning them, or do you just go with the vanilla?
No. We just use standard functions. We use we use the standard function of the JDBC.
Okay, and as much as you can tell us, I'm kind of curious to know how you charge. Like, what is the metric by which you charge? Is it number of processors like some companies do, or is it the raw amount of data, the number of queries, the number of users? How does all that work?
Okay, I'll answer that question. In terms of the pricing, it's a SaaS solution, so it's a pay-as-you-go, if you like. The traditional model, the entrance sort of level, is for one analyst. What that one analyst can connect to 10 different data sources and publish 20 dashboards and have 10 named viewers. Those are the viewers that we created to access the data, the dashboard. So that's the starting point. But because it's a SaaS solution, it's ultimately scalable. That means that if you need extra connections, or if you need extra dashboard viewers, or extra analysts, we can just add them on a sort of case-by-case basis, and the price would be changed according to that. The premium level, which is our mid-range level of BIME, is $360 US dollars per month. So that, as I said, is the one analyst, the 10 named viewers, the 10 data sources, and 20 dashboards. And then it just scales up from there. But we won't sort of multiply, if you need sort of 10 more dashboard viewers, we're not going to multiply that 360 by 2. If there's a sort of special add-on price, if you like.
Okay, good. And it seems to me like what you guys are doing is offering an alternative to the myriad of other, some of them very well-established business intelligence and analytics players. So you would seek to serve all the purposes that someone would expect to get from a MicroStrategy or a Cognos or like a Burst, for example, to talk about one of the cloud-based vendors. You're looking to handle all of those BI and reporting and analytics sort of ad hoc query style functions for any organization, right?
Exactly, yes. The idea is that we are trying to connect to as many different data sources as possible and allowing, as we were saying before, turning the cloud into a data warehouse, allowing any company to take their data from so many different places, have them in the one place, and then interactively share that data and analyze it with a very, very powerful motor behind it. But I mean, just to go back to the point about the different other tools that you mentioned, I think the main thing that differentiates us from other tools is the fact that we were born in the cloud. And because we're born in the cloud, we take advantage of all the latest in web technology, which allows us to harness all of the sort of new online web services that come on the market. So I think that's a very sort of strong area for us.
Yeah, well, I have to say this is very impressive. You guys have taken a really smart strategy and you've built some very powerful technology all around it, and this looks really good. So, folks, we've been listening to Adam Feiner and his colleague there, calling from the south of France, those lucky so-and-sos, from BIME. This is great stuff, and we've been checking out the big data ecosystem, folks. That wraps it up for another demo. We'll talk to you next time. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.